Well, hi there, Earthling, and welcome back to Podcastage. My name's Festive Drew because I absolutely love this time of year. As I rip out my headphones. What that means is it's time for the 4th annual edition of my favorite audio gear of the year. So get your hot cocoa ready, and let's get into it. My number 3 favorite microphone of the year is actually a headset. It's the Audio-Technica ATH-M50X STS-USB. Catchy name, guys. But this is something that I reviewed this year that has made it into my pretty much everyday use. At my day job, this is what I use for all of my conference calls. If you don't know what they did with this headset, they took the M50Xs, which is their best-selling headphone, and the capsule from the AT2020, which is their best-selling microphone, and shoved them together. It makes perfect sense, but because of that, you get headphones which are familiar and they sound good enough. The microphones sound significantly better than the headsets that I have tested, and they included new ear cups which make them more than comfortable for a full day's use. Does the microphone sound as good as a standalone condenser or dynamic microphone? No, but compared to other headset mics, this sounds pretty good, and it's also fairly rare for me to review something that ultimately ends up making it into my everyday use. This has, and that's why this is my number 3 favorite microphone of the year. My number 2 favorite microphone that I reviewed this year is the Shure KSM313/NE. I absolutely love ribbon microphones, and this ribbon mic blew my mind. I like that you can get that typical ribbon sound, that dark and smooth sound from the front of the capsule, but if you want a brighter sound, you just rotate it around and you get a lot more extension into the treble and air. The ribbon in this thing is also incredibly durable, and after my review, I got an email from Shure saying it can absolutely stand up to your pizza plosives, so let's go ahead and put that to the test. If this breaks it, I want a replacement, Shure. Please bring pizza pronto. Please bring pizza pronto. Please bring pizza pronto. That was really painful to do. But that is why this is my number 2 favorite microphone of the year. My number 1 favorite microphone was incredibly difficult to pick this year because I covered so many great mics. I covered the Lewitt 950, 840, and PureTube, the Earthworks SR117, the Rode NTH100s 5th Gen, the Austrian Audio OC16, the Shure SM7DB, all which would be worthy of being number 1. But my favorite microphone that I have reviewed over the last year is the SE Electronics SE7. Over the past couple of years, I have fallen in love with SDCs, and I have had so much fun exploring what's available as well as how to use them properly. Now, I covered a bunch of SDCs this year, the Behringer C2 and Samson C02 in the budget range, the Shure KSM141 and Beyerdynamic MC930 in the higher price tier. The reason the SE7 is my favorite is I think it sounds better than the Behringer and Samson, but it's not significantly more money, and it also doesn't sound 4 to 7 times worse than the Shure or the Beyer. So if you're looking for a bang for your buck SDC, this is a great option because it has a nice feature set and it sounds way better than it has any right to for the price. That's why this is my number 1 favorite pick for 2023. Now onto my favorite interfaces and preamps of the year, but take this with a grain of salt because I only reviewed 2 of each over all of 2023. But my favorite interface that I reviewed is the Focusrite 2i2 4th Gen. I think this is a really nice iterative update with the additional gain on the preamp, the improved meters on the interface, the addition of the second air circuit in case you want more of a V-shaped sound. The auto gain setting is more geared towards beginners, and I don't find the safe mode to be particularly useful. I would like that to be more of a limiter, and Julian Krause did uncover a bit of an issue with the headphone amp, where if you're using low impedance headphones, you may end up with quite a significant bass boost, so it's not going to be the most accurate headphone amp if you use low impedance headphones. And my favorite preamp that I covered this year is the PreSonus Tube Pre V2. I found this thing pretty surprising because it is more on the budget side of preamps, but the noise floor is even lower than the 18i 22nd gen. You have enough gain to drive the SM7B to a reasonable level, and you have this drive circuit, which allows you to deep fry your audio very, very easily. For an entry-level and affordable tube preamp, for those who are looking just to drive a microphone and get a bit of that saturation, that is what this thing is offering. That is what it does, and it does it extremely well for a relatively affordable price, as well as offering low-noise preamps and a really pretty VU meter. That is why this is my favorite preamp that I covered over the last year. Next up, we have my favorite production gear, and number 3 on the list are the Rode NTH100s. For all of my critical listening, I'll still use the HD650s. Those are still my go-to. Those are still my favorite sounding headphones. But whenever I'm tracking and I want to reduce the bleed from the headphones into the microphone, I'll switch over to the Rodes. The sound doesn't really compete with the HD650s, but that doesn't matter too much. I find the sound inoffensive, and it does reduce the amount of bleed. On top of that, I find them incredibly comfortable. I can wear them for hours without having any issues, but there is one huge drawback with these headphones. They aren't particularly durable. I'm on my second set, and I have seen people say they have gone through 4, 5, 6 sets. Rode does replace them, but there is a big fault with the durability of these headphones. Number 2 for me isn't audio gear at all, it's actually the lighting that I use. This year I switched over to the Elgato Key Light and a couple of Key Light Airs. I really like this because it allows me to control them remotely, adjust the brightness, and most importantly, set the exact color temperature that I want. That's important because I am colorblind, and when I was using my prior cheap LED panels, I didn't know the temperature, and if you watch my older videos, it looks blue, it looks sterile, it looks awful. Once I switched over, I knew exactly what the temperature was, and I was able to set my cameras appropriately, and I think the visuals had a huge improvement once I switched over. That's why this is my number 2 pick. And number 1 for me is my Fender Stratocaster. For the last couple of years, my main guitar has been an Ernie Ball Music Man, which is fantastic, but it has humbuckers. I really wanted to try a Strat with single coils just to see what it was all about. As soon as I started playing it, I found so much inspiration. It's almost as though there were guitar parts in this that were just waiting to fall out, and that was so much fun to discover and so much fun to write differently for my reviews. On top of that, it gives such a different sound from the Ernie Ball. I think that including both of the guitars in the tests gives you a better understanding of the microphone's performance. Just to demo that, here is a quick sample of the Ernie Ball against the Strat. I just love how chimey this thing sounds. It makes me want to play open. It makes me want to pick the guitar a lot more. And that's why this is my number 1 favorite production equipment. There you go. That is my favorite gear from the last year, but I would love to pass off the question to you. What is your favorite gear that you've used over the last 12 months? Did you find something that inspired you, something that made your job easier? And most importantly, what have you been making with the gear that you have? Because that is why we have all of this stuff to make stuff. So what have you been using your gear to make? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for coming by and watching and listening to this video. I really do appreciate it. If you celebrate Christmas, happy Christmas. If you don't, I hope you have an amazing December and a very happy New Year. That's going to wrap up for today. I will talk to you later. I love you. Bye-bye. Whoa. whoa, boop.